Hi folks, how you all doing? How are you all doing? Oh, welcome back, welcome back. I've just been so busy, focusing on the home, getting things done and stuff. So yes, we're open and I'm expecting a lot of clients. So I'm speaking it into being, but I've been very busy. So folks, forgive me. I haven't had the time to do my reading and I felt so bad and I said, oh my goodness, I can't be treating my audience like this and my subscribers like this. So folks, I'm really sorry, but you know what they say? They say it's better late than never. So we got this. And yes, my little apron, I like to wear aprons when I'm working, so I have different ones for the kitchen, one for just around the home. But anyway, folks, forgive me. They say it's better late than never. So we got this, and we're gonna finish our book. We're gonna finish it. So welcome. Hope you all having an awesome Saturday evening. I don't know why today seems like Sunday to me. Today feels like Sunday, guys. Today feels like Sunday. But anyway, we're here. Welcome back to Karen Vibes, reading for the mature audience. And let me just introduce the name of my book is Flowers in the Attic, and it's written by Virginia Andrews and narrated by moi. So we're just going to get right into it. Just a second, folks. Folks, can you talk about how cold it is? I can just imagine those overseas right now. But anyway, folks, guess what? If you had a cup of spicy teas, whether it is pimento, lemongrass, bay leaf, or soursop, you could be having a cup of tea right now. But if you don't have any spicy teas, just grab some Milo or coffee or some other herbal teas and keep yourself warm. So folks, keep yourself warm out there. Keep yourself very warm. It's really cold. We're having a cold front here in Jamaica. Really cold. Anyway, folks, we're just gonna get into it. So we're still at chapter 22. And I'm just gonna read back a part of where I had left. Where I'd read so you folks can pick up. So we just get into it. I'm just actually standing by the nurse's station here now, because the lighting is more better here. Right. So I'm just going to read back where I read already, just a part. Perhaps lovers aren't supposed to look down at the ground. What kind of story is told in symbols and earth represents reality, and reality represents frustrations, chance illnesses, death, murder, and all kinds of other tragedies. Lovers are meant to look up at the sky, for up there no beautiful illusions can be trampled upon. So we had stopped right there, and then we're just gonna continue through. Frowning sulkily, I gazed moodily at him, and when I fall in love, I began, I will build a mountain to touch the sky. Then my lover and I will have the best of both worlds. Reality firmly under our feet, while we have our heads in the clouds, with all our illusions still intact, and the purple grass will grow all around, high enough to reach our eyes. He laughed, he hugged me, he kissed me lightly, tenderly, and his eyes were so gentle and soft in the murky, cold gloom of the attic. Oh yes, my Kathy. Oh yes, my Kathy could do that. keep all her fanciful illusions, dancing high, dancing eye high in purple grass, wearing clothes for gossamer clothes. She'd leap, she'd bound, she'd bound until her clumsy footed, awkward lover was dancing too, just as gracefully. But on quicksand, I quickly jumped to where I was sure-footed. It was a beautiful story, though, in its own peculiar way. I feel so sorry that Lily and Raymond had to take their own lives when it should have worked out differently. When Lily told Raymond the full truth, how sorry, how she was virtually raped by that awful man. Raymond shouldn't have accused her of seducing him. Nobody in their right mind would want to seduce a man with 8 children. Oh, Kathy, sometimes, really, you are just too much. His voice sounded deeper than usual when he said that. His soft look traveled slowly over my face, lingering on my lips, then down to my bosom, to my legs, sheathed in white leotards. Over the leotards, I wore a short wool skirt and a wool cardigan sweater. Then his eyes moved upwards, again, coming to lock with my surprised look. He flushed as I kept on staring at him and turned aside his face for the second time today. I was close enough. I was close enough to hear his heart drumming fast, faster, racing, and all of a sudden my own heart caught the rhythm of his, in the only tempo hearts can have. Thumpity thumpity bump, thumpity thumpity bump. He shot me a quick glance. Our eyes melded and he held. He laughed nervously, trying to hide and pretend none of this could possibly be serious. Okay? I guess we were all expecting folks that this was gonna happen. They were gonna be expressing these feelings, because if they're locked up in the attic, they're teenagers, their bodies are changing, they're having different feelings and stuff. Even though that they're siblings, I'm not surprised that this is happening at all. But anyway, let's read on and see. You were right the first time, Kathy. It was a stupid, silly story. Ridiculous. Only insane people would die for the sake of love. I'll bet you 100 to 1 a woman wrote that junky romantic trash. Just a minute ago, I despised that author for bringing about such a miserable ending. Then, there I went, rushing to the defense. T.M. Ellis could very well have been a man, though I doubt any woman writer in the 19th century had much chance of being published, unless she used her initials or a man's name. And why is it all men think everything a woman writes is trivial or trashy, or just plain silly drive? Don't men have romantic notions? Don't men dream of hiding the perfect love? And it seems to me that Raymond was far more mushy-minded than Lily. Don't ask me what men are like, he stormed with such bitterness. He didn't see himself at all. He raged on. Up here, living as we do, how am I ever going to know what it feels like to be a man? Up here, I'm not followed to have any Sorry folks. Up here, I'm not allowed to have any romantic notions. It's don't do this and don't do that and keep your eyes averted and don't see what's before your very eyes. And don't see what's before your very eyes gliding about, showing off, pretending I'm just a brother, without feelings, without any emotions, but childish ones. It seems some stupid girls think a gonna be doctor is without sexuality. My eyes widened. Such a vehement outburst from one seldom upset took me completely by surprise. In all our lives, he'd never spoken so fervently to me, and with such anger. No, I was a sour lemon, the bad apple in the barrel of good. I had contaminated him. He was acting now like he had when Mommy went away and stayed so long. Oh, it was wicked of me to make him the troublesome thing I was. He should stay always what he was, the happy-go-lucky, cheerful optimist. Had I robbed him of his greatest asset, besides his good looks and charm? I put out my hand to touch his forearm. I put out my hand to touch his forearm. Chris, I whispered, near tears. I think I know exactly what you need to feel manly. Yeah, he bit out. What can you do? No, he wouldn't even look at me. Instead, he fixed his gaze on the ceiling above. I ached for him. I knew what had him down. He was letting go of his dream for my benefit, so he could be like me and not care whether or not we inherited a fortune. And to be like me, he had to be sour, bitter, hating everyone, and suspicious of their hidden motives. Tentatively, I reached out to touch his hair. A haircut, that's what you need. Your hair is much too long and pretty. To feel a man, you must have shorter hair. Right now, your hair looks like mine. And who has ever said your hair is pretty? He asked in the tightest of voices. Maybe once you had pretty hair before the tarring. Really? It seemed I could recall many times his eyes had told me my hair was more than just pretty. And I could recall the way he looked when he picked up the shiny shears to cut off that front hair. So delicate and brittle. He snipped with such reluctance. It seemed he was cutting off fingers and not just hair that didn't feel pain. Then one day I caught him sitting in the attic sunshine, holding the long lengths of cut off hair in his hands. He sniffed it, then put it to his cheek, and then to his lips, and then he hid it away in a box to keep under his pillow. Not easily could I force laughter to deceive him, and not let him know I had seen. Oh, Christopher doll, you have the most expressive blue eyes. When we are free of this place and out in the world, I pity all the girls who are going to fall for you. Most especially, I'll feel sorry for your wife with such a handsome husband to charm all his beautiful patients into wanting affairs. And if I were your wife, I'd kill you if you even had one extramarital affair. I'd love you so much. I'd be so jealous. I might even make you retire from medicine at age 35. I never told you, even once, your hair was pretty, he said sharply, ignoring everything I just said. Ever so lightly, I stroked his cheek, feeling the whiskers that needed shaving off. Sit right where you are. I'll run for the scissors. You know, I haven't given you a haircut for the longest time. Why should I bother cutting his hair and Corey's when the way our hair looked didn't seem important to our lifestyle? Not since we came had Carrie and I had our hair trimmed. Only the top of mine had been snipped off to signify our submission to a mean old woman made of steel. And while I raced for the scissors, I thought how odd it was that none of our green plants would grow. Yet each of us grew lots of hair. It seemed in all the fairy tales I'd read, the damsels in distress always had long, long, long blonde hair. Had any brunette ever been looked at, sorry, had any brunette ever been locked away turret, in a turret, if an attic could be considered a turret? Chris sat on the floor. I knelt behind him, and though his hair hung below his shoulders, he didn't want much taken off. Now go easy with those scissors, he ordered nervously. Don't cut off too much all at once. Feeling manly, too sudden, on a rainy afternoon in the attic. Let me read this back again, folks. Don't cut off too much all at once. Feeling manly, too sudden, on a rainy afternoon in the attic. Just might be dangerous, he teased, and grinned, and then he was laughing with a brilliant show of even white teeth. I had charmed him back to how he should be. Oh, I did love him as I crawled about and earnestly snipped and trimmed. Constantly, I had to move backwards for perspective, to check and see if his hair hung evenly, for most certainly I wouldn't want to make his head lopsided. I held his hair with a comb, as I'd seen barbers do, and I carefully slipped beneath that comb, not daring to take off more than 1/4 of an inch a clip. I had a mental vision of how I wanted him to look, like someone I had admired very much. And when I'd finished, I'd brushed the bright hair snippings from his shoulders and leaned back to see that I hadn't done a bad job at all. There, I said in triumph, pleased with my unexpected mastery of what seemed to be a difficult art. Not only do you look exceptionally handsome, but extremely manly as well. Though, of course, you have been manly all along. It's a pity you didn't know it. I thrust the silver-backed mirror with my initials into his hands. This mirror represented 1/3 of the sterling silver set Mommy had given me on my last birthday. Brush, comb, mirror. All three to be hidden away so the grandmother wouldn't know. I had expensive items of vanity and pride. Chris stared and stared into that mirror, and my heart faltered as he looked for a moment, displeased and undecided. Then slowly a wide grin lit up his face. My God, you've made me look like a blonde Prince Valiant. At first I didn't like it, and now I see you change style just a bit, so it isn't squared off. You've carved it and layered it to flatter my face like a loving cup. Thank you, Catherine Dunn. I had no idea you were so skilled at cutting hair. I have my many skills you don't know about. I am beginning to suspect that. And Prince Valiant should be so lucky as to look like my handsome, manly, blonde brother. I teased and couldn't help but admire my own artistry. Oh, golly gee, what a heartbreaker he'd be one day. He still had the mirror, and casually he laid it aside, and before I knew what he was about, like a cat, he pounced. He wrestled with me, bearing me back to the floor, and reached for the scissors at the same time. He yanked them from my hand and then grabbed a handful of my hair. Now my lovely, let's see if I can do the same thing for you. Terrified, I yelped. I thrust him away so he fell backwards, and I jumped to my feet. No one was going to shear off 1/8 of an inch of my hair. Maybe it was too fine and too thin. Maybe it was too fine and too thin now, and maybe it wasn't as sensational as it used to be, but it was all the hair I had, and prettier, even now, than what most girls had. I took off on the run from the schoolroom. I raced through the doorway and into the immense attic, dodging behind pots, circling old trunks, leaping over low tables, and bounding over sheet-shrouded sofas and chairs. The paper flowers fanned frantically as I ran, and he chased. The flames of the low, fat candles that we kept burning during the day just to cheer up and warm up a dreary, vast, and cold place, bent low in our wakes and almost guttered. And no matter how swiftly I ran or how cleverly I dodged, I couldn't shake off my pursuer. I threw a glance over my shoulder, and I couldn't even recognize his face, and that scared me even more. Lounging forward, he made an effort to seize hold of my long hair, which bannered, which, which bannered out behind me, and seemed so very intent on cutting it off. Did he hate me now? Why had he spent one entire day so devotedly trying to save my hair, only to cut off my crowning glory for the sheer fun of it? I fled back toward the schoolroom, planning on reaching there first. Then I'd slam the door and lock it, and he would come to his senses and realize the absurdity of it all. Perhaps he sensed my purpose and put some extra speed into his longer legs. He bounded forward and caught hold of my long streaming locks, causing me to scream as I tripped and fell forward. Oh my goodness, folks. I feel like I'm Kathy running from him. Not only did I fall, but he fell too, straight on top of me. A sharp pain pierced my side. I screamed again, not in terror this time, but in shock. He was over me. He was over me, supported by his hands on the floor, staring down into my face, his face deadly white and frightened. Are you hurt? Oh God, Kathy, are you all right? Yes, I was all right. Sorry, folks. Was I all right? Was I? Lifting my head, I stared down at the heavy flow of blood quickly staining my sweater. Chris saw it. Chris saw it too. His blue eyes went stark, bleak, wild, distraught. With trembling fingers, he began to unbutton my sweater so he could spread it open and take a look at my wound. Oh Lord, he breathed, then expelled a low whistle of relief. Wow, thank God. I was so scared it would be a puncture. A deep puncture would be serious, but it's only a long cut. Kathy, nasty, and you're sorry. Thank God I was so scared it would be a puncture. A deep puncture would be serious, but it's only a long cut. Okay, it's only a long cut, Kathy. Nasty, and you're losing a lot of blood. Now don't move a muscle. Stay right where you are, and I'll dash down to the bath and fetch medicine and bandages. He kissed me first on the cheek, then was up and in a terrified hurry, racing madly toward the stairwell. Whereas I thought I could have gone with him and saved time. Yet the twins were down there, and they'd see the blood, and all they had to do was see blood, and they'd go to pieces and scream. In a few minutes, Chris came speeding back with our medical emergency kit. He fell down on his knees beside me, his hands still glistening with water from a vast scrub up. He was in too much of a hurry to dry them well. I was fascinated to see he knew so precisely what to do. First, he folded a heavy towel and used that to press down hard on the long cut. Looking very serious and intent, he bore down on the pad, checking every few seconds to see if the bleeding had stopped. When it did, he busied himself with antiseptic that stung like fire and hurt worse than the injury itself. I know it stings, Kathy. Can't help that. I have to put it on to avoid infection. Wish I had sutures, but maybe it won't make a permanent scar, and I pray it doesn't. It would be so nice if people could go through all of their life without ever cutting into the perfect envelope they're born with. And here I am, the first one to really scar your skin. If you had died because of me, and you could have it, sorry, let me read this again. And here I am, the first one to really scar your skin. If you had died because of me, and you could have it if the shares had been slanted differently, then I would want to die too. He had finished playing doctor and was now winding the remaining gauze into a neat roll before placing it into the blue wrapping paper and into a box. He stashed away the adhesive and closed the kit. Leaning above me, his face hovered over mine, his serious eyes so delving, worried, and intense. His blue eyes were like the eyes we all had. Yet on this rainy day, they were catching colors from the paper flowers, making them limpid, dark pools of iridescence. Making them, I don't know why some words are just. Yet on this rainy day, they were catching colors from the paper flowers, making them limpid, dark pool of iridescence. A lump came in my throat as I wondered where the boy was I used to know. A lump came in my throat as I wondered where the boy was I used to know. Where was that brother? And who was this young man with the blonde whiskers staring so long into my eyes? Just that look of his held me in thrall, and greater than any pain or ache or hurt I have ever felt before or since was the pain caused me by the suffering I saw in the shifting rainbowed colors of his tortured eyes. Chris, I murmured, feeling unreal. Don't look like that. It wasn't your fault. I cupped his face in my palms first, then drew his head down to my breast, as I'd seen Mommy do in the past. You know, that's one of the reasons why they said children live what they learn, although they're teenagers, but children do live what they learn in a sense, I think most of the times. So she see her mother do this and she's doing it to her brother. I cupped his face in my palms first and then drew his head down to my breast, as I'd seen Mommy do in the past. It's only a scratch. Doesn't hurt a bit, though it hurt dreadfully. And I know you didn't do it deliberately. Hoarsely he choked. Why did you run? Because you ran, I had to chase, and I was only teasing. I wouldn't cut off one strand from your head. It was just something to do, to have fun. And you were wrong when you said, I thought your hair was pretty. It's more than just pretty. I think you may grow, I think you may grow on your head the most glorious hair in the whole world. And we'll stop right there, folks. Oh well, guess these are the things sometimes that happens between siblings when they are playing, and then these accidents happen. But yeah, so we're getting into it, and we'll soon be through. I think I know I've said that like a million times, folks, but anyway, better late than never. So we'll pause there, and we will be back in short order. I promise you, we'll be back in short order because I really want to get finished and move on to the next book. So folks, I hope you, as I said before, you're all keeping warm. I don't know where in the world you are, but it's very cold here. I have another sweater I'm gonna put on over this when I'm in a little while. Very, very cold. That's how it is. I'm just imagining those who are in the country that snow falls. Oh my goodness. You know, in some places where the work snow, whether snow or shine, what am I saying foolishness? Whether snow or shine, you have to get out there and go to work. You can't say, oh, rain is falling or snow is falling, so I can't come. I guess unless it's really bad, but you know, and just imagine those folks who have to be out in the snow and the cold. But anyway, you all try and keep warm wherever you are, and we'll be back. We'll be back in short order. Remember to like, subscribe, and share to Karen Vibes, reading for the mature audience. Please share. And I do love when you leave your comments. Really do, really do. And yeah, we'll be back. So catch you, gentle folks. Catch you, folks. Bye.